Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is off today. We begin this hour with Mother Nature's fireworks still lingering in the sky after the 4th of July. Right now, another round of severe weather is making its way across the country. Heavy rain caused flash flooding in the eastern and central parts of the country overnight. Well, in Wisconsin, a surveillance camera captured powerful winds topping 100 miles an hour. Those powerful gusts ripping apart the yard at a hotel in the southern part of the state. And in Oklahoma, crews are out this morning trying to repair power lines that were snapped in half by 90-mile-an-hour winds. This comes after the volatile weather impacted a number of July 4th celebrations, in many cases delaying or canceling the festivities, like on the National Mall in Washington, where strong storms forced thousands of people to seek shelter right before the fireworks started. Here in New York, storms in the forecast later today could dump 2 to 3 inches of rain an hour. That could cause even more flash flooding. NBC News correspondent Aaron McLaughlin is in hard-hit Paramus, New Jersey, and has the latest. Aaron, good morning.
Hey there, folks across the country are waking up to a real mess after a weekend of extreme heat and severe storms. Overnight, serious summer systems slammed the Northeast, threatening Monday commutes for millions and triggering ground stops and mounting delays at airports nationwide. Hundreds of thousands without power across the country. The big issue today is the water. Here in New York City, heavy downpours could dump 2 to 3 inches of rain per hour. And that threat expands well beyond the Big Apple. 61 million across 10 states are under a flood alert this morning. It caps off a hazardous 250th 4th of July weekend. In D.C., heavy rain delayed President Trump's Saturday speech and the fireworks on the National Mall, which later triggered major air quality issues. Here in New York City, the Macy's show had to be moved up to beat the weather, and the pyrotechnics actually sparked a brief fire on the Brooklyn Bridge. Meanwhile, Oklahoma saw 92-mile-per-hour winds, all on the heels of a deadly scorcher with at least 25 suspected heat deaths nationwide. Now, officials here in the Northeast are concerned about the possibility of flash flooding throughout the day. If you are driving out on the roads and see a road covered with water, do not drive through it. You just don't know how deep that water is. That's an important tip as folks are heading home after that big weekend. Back to you.
Some important advice there, Aaron. Thank you so much. For more on the weather that is hitting your area, let's check in with meteorologist Rafael Miranda, who has the soggy forecast. Raf, good morning. Good to have you with us.
Good morning, Joe. Yeah, the extreme heat last week, now flooding. It's just a very active weather pattern over the past several days, including right now, of course, a busy travel day after the holiday weekend. And we have exactly what we don't need here. Heavy rain across the Northeast, the I-95 corridor dealing with potential flash flooding today. You could see 61 million people impacted with that flooding potential, a flood watch in effect from southern New England down towards Philadelphia, New York City, and Washington, D.C. The heaviest rain right now has been to the north of New York City and to the east as well. It looks like it's going to stay there throughout much of the day, and that's where we have that moderate risk. You see this red color here from New York City stretching into coastal Connecticut, Long Island, and southern New England. That's the best chance of seeing flash flooding during the day today and significant travel impacts there. But even in New York City down towards Philly, we could see some more flash flooding with very heavy rainfall rates. Here's the culprit. It's a stationary front, not going anywhere as you would expect with a stationary front, and low pressure along that providing enough fuel for these showers through the day today. Tomorrow, this front does sag to the south, and that's where the heaviest rain goes as well. So maybe a shower or two lingering in the Northeast. But today, by far, the worst of the two weather days. Several inches of rain possible. And again, we get these tropical downpours, rainfall rates of 1 to 2, even 2 to 3 inches per hour. That causes that urban flooding that we're concerned with today. Rain across the southeast as well. Again, a big travel day. Lots of highways could be impacted by that flooding and ponding, and just difficult travel conditions all across the southeast as well with rain and storms. It's really out west where things are much quieter. As far as air travel, also could be impacted. We're not only expecting heavy rain, thunderstorms, which could really snarl things here across the Northeast today. The big airports, New York City, Philly, and D.C., all watching for delays as the day goes on. Now, the heat is out west. The extreme heat that we've had here in the Northeast taking a break for now. Temperatures in the 70s, but the Southeast and also the desert Southwest really sizzling over the next several days. You can see temperatures well over 100 degrees. This is our southwest sweat today and tomorrow as well. More of the same, triple-digit temperatures from Phoenix to St. George. And this continues to be the trend in the southwest. This is where the heat is for the next several days. Again, here in the northeast, even though it's raining and causing difficulties, we're enjoying those temperatures back down to the 70s after that very intense heat wave that we just broke finally in New York City. As we head throughout the week, temperatures rebound back to the low 80s here, watching some stormy weather for the middle of the week in the upper Midwest, and the Southwest just bakes with temperatures well over 100 degrees. Here's a look at your forecast by the end of the week. A little bit unsettled here in the Northeast, some scattered storms there, and you can see above average temperatures continue in the Southwest. All right, that's a look at your forecast. Joe?
All right, the West Coast can have the heat for now, right?
For now.
Let them have it. Raph, thank you so much. As he mentioned, that severe weather coupled with the dangerous heat is creating some holiday travel headaches this morning. Millions of Americans are still trying to get home after widespread disruptions yesterday. Airports and highways are expected to remain especially busy today. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa joins us now from Chicago's O'Hare Airport. Maggie, good morning.
Hey there, good morning from the home stretch of this record-smashing holiday weekend, and clearly it looks like it is a packed morning here at O'Hare. This is the general boarding line behind me. I have never truly seen it this long. By the way, TSA had already predicted, and the FAA as well, that this would be the busiest 4th of July weekend in more than 15 years. Obviously, Mother Nature, severe weather not making it easy. Even without that, yesterday, TSA projected 2.9 million people would pass through their security checkpoints. Today is expected to be even busier. We are already seeing hundreds of delays and cancellations nationwide, and obviously it's early. Those numbers will keep ticking up. This after close to 10,000 delays nationwide yesterday. Both the FAA and TSA reminding flyers to get to the airport early, at least 2 hours early for domestic flights, check their flight status ahead of time, and download your airline's app to rebook if needed. Now, for those hitting the road, some 61 million Americans, experts recommend getting out early in the morning, basically as soon as you can, to beat the traffic. Some good news for your wallets. As of today, the average price for a gallon of regular gasoline is $3.80, according to AAA. That's down almost 50 cents in the last month. The lowest averages in Indiana, Texas, and Oklahoma. So if you're passing through those states, definitely a good day to fuel up. If you're heading to the airports, again, get here early and good luck, guys.
All right, Maggie, thank you so much. President Trump heading to Turkey later today for a high-stakes NATO summit. Follows a weekend of chaotic celebrations marking America's 250th anniversary. Saturday's July 4th event on the National Mall was hit by severe weather that forced thousands to flee for cover, delaying the program. Hours later, the president finally managed to deliver an address that veered from political to patriotic.
For 250 years, the United States of America has been the hope, the promise, the light, and the glory among all of the nations of the world. And all these talks from the communists, they haven't got a chance. Not even a chance. We don't want communists in our country.
NBC News politics reporter Megan Brand joins us now to talk more about the headlines out of Washington. Megan, good morning. I know you were there on the ground for this event. Just walk us through how the whole weather evacuation unfolded and then what we did finally hear from the president when he took the stage.
Hey, Joe, good morning. Yeah, right around the time that the event was supposed to ultimately kick off, organizers announced that it would have to be delayed. People would have to evacuate because of the weather. We could see dark clouds and lightning rolling in over the White House toward the Washington Monument where this event was taking place, and people had to seek shelter in buildings nearby. Now, people who our team spoke with seemed pretty determined, though, to wait it out, to try to see if the event would resume. Many of them had traveled in from outside of D.C. specifically to try to attend this event. Now, about 2 hours later, organizers had announced that people could start to head back to the event, that it would resume. Ultimately, President Trump did take the stage, and during his speech, he walked through moments in American history. He highlighted special guests, people like a World War II veteran, for example, astronauts as well. And he also highlighted parts of his agenda, things like pushing for the Save America Act, which, if passed, would reshape how elections are operated in the U.S., though that does not have enough support right now to make it through Congress. During his speech, too, President Trump had framed communism as a threat and referring to it as a cancer as well, Joe.
Saturday's festivities were also marred by just a highly controversial moment. A white supremacist group was seen marching through the streets of D.C. What happened there?
Yeah, that's right. So members of a white supremacist group were spotted marching through D.C., multiple streets, and also standing in front of Union Station, which is a major train station here in D.C., chanting things like "Reclaim America." Some of them had Confederate flags as well. They were also spotted riding the trains, riding the subways in D.C., too. Now, also yesterday, Interior Secretary Doug Burgum was asked on CNN whether he condemned the group and what they stand for. And he had said that what they stand for is nothing that I could possibly agree with. But he also added that free speech is allowed, Joe.
Let's get to some other news, Megan. We're learning new details about the company that's expected now to repair the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. This is a saga that has been going on for weeks, but walk us through what's raising eyebrows now.
Yeah, so Interior Secretary Doug Burgum had also said that the same company that had initially been hired to reline the reflecting pool would also be used for the repairs for the pool. Now, recently we've seen chunks of that American flag blue, that's the name of the color that they used, liner peeling up from the bottom of the pool as well. Now, Burgum had said that they would use the same company because they did a fantastic job, is what he said. Now, the whole process had raised some criticism from critics of the administration who had criticized the fact that the company that had been hired, the company is called Atlantic Industrial Coatings, they'd been hired with a no-bid contract and a price tag that had ultimately reached more than $14 million. And so the fact that it's a no-bid contract had raised some eyebrows from critics of the administration. Also separately, the reflecting pool recently has also separately been plagued with algae that has turned the reflecting pool recently bright green, Joe.
Megan, let's look ahead to the midterms now, which are coming quickly. The NAACP has announced its largest ever spending campaign in its history and its midterms. Walk us through the plans to try and mobilize black voters for this upcoming election, especially in the wake of a key decision by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's right. So this is a major spending campaign. The NAACP had announced a $20 million Get Out the Vote campaign across more than a dozen states, including states that are going to be really important to watch for the midterm elections this fall. Places like Georgia and North Carolina and Texas, which all have really important Senate races to watch. Now, this comes right around the country's 250th anniversary and also, as you mentioned, comes in the wake of a Supreme Court ruling that had effectively weakened the Voting Rights Act. So this is also to respond to that, the group had said. Now, as well, the spending includes efforts to recruit 20,000 volunteers and also to buy advertisements on black radio stations, Joe.
While we're talking about the midterms, we want to get to an unusual saga brewing in the Alaska Senate race. Incumbent Republican Senator Dan S. Sullivan facing a challenge from a man with a very similar name, Dan J. Sullivan. NBC News is learning federal and state prosecutors are investigating a possible conspiracy to confuse voters. Real quick, Megan, what can you tell us about this?
Yeah, that's right. So that is according to two people with knowledge of the investigation who are saying that there is an investigation underway into whether the challenger, Dan Sullivan, who's running, could be part of a conspiracy to confuse voters. Now, the incumbent, Dan Sullivan, has said that this is part of an attempt to try to confuse voters to potentially split their votes. But challenger Dan Sullivan says that this is a legitimate campaign. So we'll have to see what happens there, Joe.
I'm already confused. All right, Megan, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Later today, prosecutors are expected to lay out their case against the man who's charged with killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk. A 5-day preliminary hearing kicks off in a Utah courtroom to determine if Tyler Robinson should stand trial for murder. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty here. They claim Robinson sent a text message confession to his roommate and romantic partner before turning himself into police. Robinson has not yet entered a plea in the case. The 23-year-old is all charged with aggravated murder for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It happened last September at Utah Valley University. He's also facing charges related to obstruction, witness tampering, and discharging a firearm. Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, and his parents are expected to attend this week's hearing. It is the first time they will be in a courtroom with the defendant. For more on this, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Misty Maris. Misty, good to have you with us. Most of the legal proceedings in this case so far have really centered on media access to Robinson's prosecution. So what will be the focus of this preliminary hearing here? What are we expecting to hear from prosecutors?
So, Joe, a preliminary hearing actually unfolds like a mini trial. So here, prosecutors have to lay out the evidence that they have in this case that points to Tyler Robinson as the one who shot Charlie Kirk on that day. And they need to convince the judge that there is probable cause. And so, Joe, that's a low standard of proof in the law. Probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause that Tyler Robinson was the one who committed the crime. So we're going to see a significant preview of the evidence that prosecutors will ultimately present at trial.
And looking at the evidence, or at least what we know so far, how strong is the prosecution's case here?
So it's very strong, and especially at this stage of the game, when you're talking about a preliminary hearing, the defense does not have as many rights in the context of this hearing as they will at trial. And that's because hearsay evidence can come into the courtroom. So what do we expect to hear? We expect to see law enforcement officers, displays of physical evidence, surveillance footage, photos of the murder weapon, ballistics reports, autopsy findings. And a central figure, Joe, was Tyler Robinson's roommate, who actually sat down with investigators with limited immunity back in April. So we're going to hear that interview, as well as text messages that were exchanged between the two, which investigators and prosecutors say are tantamount to a confession.
So knowing that the evidence against Robinson seems to be pretty overwhelming here, what is the best strategy for the defense?
Yeah, so the preliminary hearing is really skewed towards the prosecutors. For them, you know, if there's anything like a slam dunk, this is where you see it from the prosecutor's perspective for a preliminary hearing. However, for the defense, there's going to be a very clear goal, and it's going to be to try and get the death penalty off the table. Remember, Tyler Robinson is charged with aggravated murder, and in order for prosecutors to move forward and actually seek the death penalty, they have to show enough evidence that there was an aggravating factor under the law, the statutory law in Utah. Here, what prosecutors are going to argue is that the actions created a risk of death to other people, to people other than Charlie Kirk. We've all seen the video that day, crowds of people around. You can expect the defense to really try and attack that to see if they can do anything to get the death penalty off the table. They also intend to present 3 forensic experts to undermine some of that forensic evidence, like ballistics and fingerprint DNA evidence that prosecutors are going to present in court.
Let's talk more about the death penalty. If you're the prosecution, just how hard is it to actually keep that on the table all the way through?
So it can be really challenging, and it also presents additional issues at trial. A capital murder case, that is the most severe punishment that any criminal defendant can face. So there's extra protections for defendants when you move forward with a capital murder case. So I think what we're going to see is there's likely to be enough evidence to move forward to trial, probable cause, really low standard under the law. But when it comes to the trial, it becomes more complicated because not only does a jury have to determine the guilt phase, the jury also has to agree on the death penalty as well. So it does make the case a bit more complicated from that perspective.
All right. Misty Maris, good to have you with us. Thank you so much. The U.S. men's national team takes the field tonight, facing off against Belgium in the World Cup round of 16, and they're already making headlines before they even take the field. FIFA sent shockwaves through the tournament Sunday with that stunning decision clearing the way for Team USA's top scorer to play after that controversial red card suspension. NBC News correspondent Dana Griffin has more on how President Trump may have played a role in that reversal.
The stunning reversal reverberating through the soccer world as FIFA reinstates star striker Folarin Balogun, slated to sit out against Belgium after getting slapped with a controversial red card for stepping on a player's leg during last week's match, Balogun calling it unintentional.
Not many places I can place my foot in such a scenario.
President Donald Trump called FIFA's president Gianni Infantino Wednesday and asked him to review the suspension, according to a source familiar with the phone conversation. Trump and Infantino have grown extremely close, fostering a tight-knit relationship over the last few years. Balogun seemed at practice, his teammates thrilled.
It gives us a boost. We're really excited.
Ultimately, I think it gives us a little bit extra confidence.
The decision sparking online reaction.
What? Guess what? They took Flo's red card away!
It's like they're laughing in our face.
President Donald Trump thanking FIFA via Truth Social for, quote, reversing a great injustice. What do you think was behind their decision?
I think it was pretty controversial in the moment. If you looked at the replays and they really slowed it down, it did look probably worse than it was.
While the reversal is highly unusual, the FIFA Disciplinary Committee has made similar rulings in the past. Last year, Cristiano Ronaldo's 3-game ban was shortened to just 1. A major shakeup as fans gear up for another critical match. Dana Griffin, NBC News.
There is a lot more to cover with the World Cup this morning, so let's jump into it with Marcelo Balboa. He is an MLS analyst on Apple TV, former U.S. men's national team player who played in 3 World Cups. Marcelo, good to have you with us. Let's start right there with the red card controversy. Your reaction when you heard FIFA reverse this decision. Balogun's playing tonight.
Listen, we can't compel the Ronaldo one because Ronaldo wasn't in a World Cup. So listen, if you're an American, you woke up today, you're an American fan, you're excited to have Flo back, the game changer that can change a game for you. But to be honest, they're walking on thin ice right now because that's a decision that now has kind of set the standard of what FIFA can do. So to be honest with you, I heard it the other day. It really seems like now it's going to be the U.S. versus everybody else because everybody else now is really upset of what just happened with FIFA and the U.S. national team.
Let's talk about tonight's matchup. Team USA playing Belgium, a team that has been historically strong in some past international tournaments. How well can Team USA do? How key is having Balogun in the lineup?
Listen, having Balogun in the lineup is huge. That's been the same lineup. He scored 3 goals already in this World Cup. He's a guy that can spread the defense out. He's a guy that's dangerous. He's one of our best players that we've had up front in a long time since, I think, Eric Winalda and Brian McBride. But listen, this team's good. They haven't played and they haven't lived up to their potential in this World Cup, but we've already played them in the summer. We lost 5-2. So this is a team that's very good, that's very structured, that's very organized. They're not playing their best right now, but at the end of the day, all it takes is one game and you can click in to get into your rhythm and they could be dangerous. So yeah, this is going to be a very tough game for the United States.
I'm already apologizing to our viewers tomorrow morning. I will be tired because I will be staying up late to watch it. All right, the round of 16 action already got underway over the weekend. Some really great games yesterday. Yeah. Norway, England, latest teams punching their tickets into the quarterfinals. I was watching the Norway one in a bar. Holland is unreal. What stood out in yesterday's matches?
Listen, it just goes to show you don't have to be a big factor in the game, but at the right time, at the right place, that's where you got Erling Haaland. He gets in there, he puts in the back of the net. I think people are surprised how poorly Brazil played because we're not used to seeing Brazil play in this manner. But Norway's a surprise. You can just keep rowing home because they're going to be there at the end of the day. And England won't even talk about what a fantastic game that was last night between England and Mexico. And England held on. Let's be honest, 10 players, they held on, and great win for England.
Golden boot race, kind of unlike anything we've seen before. We've now got 3 very well-known players tied with 7 goals, another with 6. Yep. What do you make of that? Who do you think has the best chance at scoring the most goals in the tournament? I guess it depends on who gets the furthest.
Yeah, I'm going to go with whoever gets the furthest. I would say right now between Messi and Mbappe, any one of those 4 can really, at the end of the day, could win the Golden Boot. They're game changers. They're different. They score goals in different ways. Haaland can beat you in the air. Mbappe will beat you on the ground. Messi could do both and put in a free kick there. So Harry Kane, in the air is fantastic. Penalty kicks. So listen, this is what we wanted in this World Cup. We wanted a fight. We wanted the stars to show up, and the stars have shown up.
It's Monday morning. It's been a few days. I think we've had an opportunity after this weekend to maybe fully digest the Argentina game on Friday night. But what were your reflections watching that?
Oh, you mean the stress of a heart attack? Yes, watching Argentina. Listen, a lot of props. I got to say, it's been a fantastic story with Cabo Verde. They've been absolutely fantastic, and my hat goes off to them. They had an absolutely fantastic World Cup. Listen, Argentina struggled. They did not play their best soccer. They did not play what we're used to seeing them play, moving the ball around, in and out, in and out. It could have been because of the heat in Miami. But you know what they say, the best teams in the world find ways to win.
Marcelo, good to have you with us. Thanks for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, bit by bit, nugget by nugget, we are learning new details about the wedding of the year between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Madison Square Garden lit up with a lavender haze Friday night, announcing right there on the video boards outside, just TNT married. Guests are now revealing what it was like, calling the star-studded wedding magical. They say the couple exchanged personally written vows, with Swift even singing part of hers. The ceremony was officiated by the wedding singer himself, Adam Sandler, while Paul McCartney and Stevie Nicks helped celebrate at the reception. We're going to have more details for you in the next hour.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.